Hello and welcome. I'm Srinivasan and this is Talking Sense with Srini. A veteran Congress leader, Siddaramaiah, has officially quit as Karnataka Chief Minister, paving the way for his deputy, DK Shivakumar, to take over the top job. Siddaramaiah broke the news himself at a joint press conference at his residence, flanked by DK Shivakumar and Senior Minister G. Parameshwara. No drama except for those viral images of Siddaramaiah and DK Shivakumar's be a hug, and the latter even touching the feet of his so-called political guru. Remember, this has arguably been one of the most important and most watched power struggles in Karnataka politics for the last 2 years. DKS has waited long, worked harder, and today he finally has the chair. The questions, though, are just getting started. 2 years to the election, the clock is ticking. And joining us to decode all of this is our editor-in-chief, Srinivasan. Sir, let me begin with you. DK Shivakumar finally got the Chief Minister's chair.
Yes.
It's been a long time coming for him, right? But the question is, how did he even manage to get it this time? And most importantly, how did he even get to convince his so-called political guru, Siddaramaiah there?
Well, like you correctly said, it's been in the works for a while now. Apparently, when this particular assembly convened in 2023 after a major victory which was marked by Congress party.
That's right. Yeah.
It was then settled perhaps that after 2.5 years the leadership would be changed.
But that's something that Siddaramaiah did not publicly acknowledge, right?
Yeah, so these things, a big lesson for the Congress party is how do they, do these kind of arrangement within the leaders. I mean, that is what they have to essentially look into. See, the fact here is that there is a high command culture in Congress, and high command decides these things. And then when regional powers are much bigger than the high command, then there is a kind of a dissonance between the two. Now, what seems to have happened is the two leaders, both Shivakumar and Siddaramaiah, fought the 2023 elections together, and that resulted in a massive victory. And the success was credited to both of them. While Siddaramaiah was a face and he represented AHINDA, a very powerful community grouping, a lot of hard work, was done by Shivakumar in terms of strategy, devising various other things for the party, and the two together won the election. So obviously, Shivakumar, being a younger politician, also wanted a particular share in the power. And that time, whatever the circumstances, probably it was decided that there would be a change in leadership after 2.5 years. So, but the build-up had started even before he completed 2.5 years, Siddaramaiah, because DK Shivakumar was so uneasy and he wondered whether he'll actually get the seat. So he kept on traveling between Delhi and Bangalore, a lot of whisper campaigning. So I think nearly a year went in this, and it has actually only brought down the Congress party because they have been constantly bickering in the public eye.
Absolutely.
Though the BJP, the principal opposition there, he's not been in a very strong wicket. That's the only reason that they have been surviving. Otherwise, any other, if BJP was powerful there, they would have by now pulled down the government anytime. That's been running very precariously though they have the majority, but this constant infighting and the media glare, it led to certain dissonance. And I think Congress has finally decided to put an end to this instead of waiting till 2028. I think they wanted to draw some lessons on what happened in Kerala.
That's right.
They had
The
to
VD
take a
Satishan.
decision. Somehow there, it ended favorably. They, selected Satishan, which I think is a good choice. And in the case of Tamil Nadu, they moved very quickly and could reap some benefits. So I think the Congress party is learning its lessons, because in the past, you see what happened to them in Rajasthan, what happened in Chhattisgarh, what happened in Punjab. They tried to change chief ministers. Like I essentially said, that if the high command is powerful, like in the case of BJP now, it's a very powerful high command. It's a different matter that BJP didn't have this high command culture. Now it has come there also, basically Modi and Shah. Now, what I mean by high command culture means that two figures, basically the strategy of Amit Shah and the face and the ability of Narendra Modi to attract vote is actually what matters. So the regional leaders of BJP doesn't matter much, because the belief is that on Modi's, charisma, they will win the elections. That's not true in the case of Congress party. It's actually the regional leaders who are actually making it win the election. So the Rahul or Priyanka or Sonia, after she is in a semi-retirement, do not have that kind of ability to pull through. That's the reason this conflict keeps happening.
No, since you brought multiple states here, I just want to ask you, you think Congress is known for its status quo-istic approach, right? Sonia Gandhi, for example, there, it was her decision that what has happened in Tamil Nadu, that, a DMK and the Congress alliance came together there before the elections. So you think Rahul is doing all the job right now? He's fixing things quickly there. He did it in Tamil Nadu. And, Kerala, what has happened, and now in Karnataka?
I won't say it is status quoist. I think Sonia Gandhi has her own set of loyalists, and she would like to reward those loyalists. I think that's her problem. So what happened in the Tamil Nadu case is, again, it's old loyalists who worked together with her in the past were insisting that they should continue the alliance with DMK. But the younger elements who were more on the side of Rahul were pulling in a different direction. The party did not hear what was happening on the ground. But finally, when the results came, they decided to quickly flip and decide alliance led by TVK. In the case of Kerala, again, there was a bit of a mess up. Chennithala has been a long known leader, but the man who actually worked on the ground and brought victory is V.D. Satishan. So obviously the thing should have gone to him, but then again there was lots of pulls and pressure. Again the loyalty factor came here, loyalty in the form of Venugopal, who is organizing secretary of the Congress party, and he is closer to Rahul, not so much to Sonia. I think Rahul decided probably there could be some meeting among the Gandhi families within. I think wisely he decided not to push his case and agree to Satishan. But in the case of Karnataka, it seems it's purely a loyalty issue. And the belief that since such an agreement, right or wrong, one doesn't know, because nobody knows whether there was actually an agreement. It is believed that there was an agreement that after 2.5 years, Siddaramaiah would be changed and DK Shivakumar would be brought in. But here again, this runs completely contradictory to what Rahul believes. Perhaps in this case, Rahul would like Siddaramaiah to continue for another 2.5 years because he firmly believes in backward politics. And also within that larger umbrella of backward politics, he would like both Dalits and minorities to be brought into that combination. And he knows that's the winning combination, and that is where the polity is heading towards. If you see the case of TVK in Tamil Nadu,
that's right.
It's the power is shifting. There is a certain power shift which is happening. So he wanted to perhaps do that, but I think they have to go against the stream and elect now DK Shivakumar, who's a kind of a Vakaliga leader, which is a kind of forward cast there.
DK Shivakumar, is largely known as a troubleshooter in chief within the Karnataka Congress. He doesn't have the national sort of impression as much as even as Shashi Tharoor has. Of course, he has held the number 2 position in the state, but it's more of a deputy to somebody who's been really, really senior than you, right? He was more of a shadow position there. So, you think he'll be able to run the state all alone?
No, I think there is a little correction here. It's not exactly that he's not known all over India. Mm-hmm. He's been a major troubleshooter for the Congress party, not just in Karnataka, in other states as well. Whenever there were trouble in other states, DK Shivakumar has played a very crucial role. See, when Maharashtra, I think it was, I'll just check out for the dates. In 2002, Vilasrao Deshmukh was in trouble. And he wanted to protect his MLAs because he wanted to win the motion of confidence. And the MLAs were moved to a resort outside Bangalore. So you can say that in some ways, DK Shivakumar is an expert on resort politics. He could quickly help party move. So he's more of a strategist, a troubleshooter, and not just in Karnataka.
One of the most richest politicians as well.
That's a different aspect. In 2017, again, he moved 42 MLAs to Bangalore and to help Ahmed Patel. Later, he helped Ahmed Patel. He moved those MLAs from Gujarat so that they may not be poached by BJP. And then later he helped, Ahmed Patel himself is considered a party strategist. So his own thing was under question, Rajya Sabha election. And there again, Shivakumar went and helped him. So again in JDS coalition in 2018, again it was Shivakumar who basically managed to keep the flock together so that they are not poached. So 2020 again he played a very crucial role, as a backroom boy. So that way he's when the party is in trouble, it requires certain maneuvering, all that he does brilliantly well, and that perhaps helped Siddaramaiah. Siddaramaiah is a politician essentially who's basically has a grip over the social coalition.
That's right, yeah.
And whereas this person is more of a, political strategies, a tactician at some time, strategy, tactics, and also ability to bring in finances and, mobilize resources and then kind of play important role. In fact, he defeated some of the moves of BJP, managed to outrightly beat them. And he did all this when there were raids going on against him. There were income tax raids, there were ED raids. So even BJP High Command identified him as a kind of a problem for them because he was so effective in troubleshooting for Congress party. But despite all this, he continued to do his job. I think that's the loyalty factor for which the High Command wants to really recognize him. So what Congress party, if they have to think politically, I think it's a wrong move.
Mm-hmm.
If they had to politically sharply think whether they should continue with Siddaramaiah or should they go for, Shivakumar, I would think they should still go with Siddaramaiah.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's a kind of a political, misstep they're taking just to keep the loyalty fact together and the word given to Shivakumar probably that he would be made chief minister midterm. So probably to keep that word.
And we're also seeing some backlash for the rise of DK Shivakumar there, particularly from the AHINDA groups, because, Siddaramaiah was seen as the poster boy of the OBC community. He himself hails from this Kuruba Gowda community there. So, that's going to be a profound challenge for his government, isn't it?
Yeah,
DK Shivakumar.
for DK Shivakumar, it's going to be one of the biggest challenges. What is the biggest? One of them is more than facing BJP within Congress party, how he's going to manage, because apparently about 100 MLAs still owe their loyalty to Siddaramaiah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be pretty interesting how the politics develops. See, Siddaramaiah himself is a latecomer into Congress. He is originally basically a socialist, a Lohiite, and he was independent. Then he became member of the JDS. He was actually a protege of Devagowda. And then he broke away and then joined Congress much later. I think somewhere in 2006 or somewhere he joined Congress party. So it's been exactly 2 decades since his entry and his exit now. And in these 2 decades, he has achieved quite a bit in the Congress party. He has been chief minister twice, with the overall tenure more than 8 years. He's the longest serving chief minister. Even his record over Devaraja was a very prominent backward leader in Karnataka. So in that sense, he has achieved a lot in these through 2 decades, and he's been given a chance by Congress party because he was a kind of a person who has come just from another party and still was considered an outsider. Still party went and gave him all this recognition. I think in that sense, you can say that he had been given a full play in the party. But that's not how politics works. You have to see what is the equation on the ground, how it works. Therefore, the challenge before Shivakumar is to keep this equation intact, because he's seen more as a
Okaliga leader.
Okaliga leader. And he also have to deal with Lingayats.
Absolutely.
And then he has to deal with this. And then BJP, he obviously had to deal with BJP. And then the number of cases against him.
That's right.
These are largely financial, disproportionate accumulation of assets.
Money laundering.
Those kind of cases. So he has to face those cases also.
But can he offer a stable government with such baggage?
Well, that's a challenge he has to face. Coming to power essentially doesn't protect you from all this. Since BJP is in power at the center, they can still send a ED or CBI or other enforcement agencies to Chief Minister's residence, So that they can still do. So the risk is certainly there. So he's that way more risky. But then it is also a political, move. The rivals won't. I mean, BJP at least won't do such things if they find it proving to be counterproductive. So these are the reasons. So therefore, there is a lot of challenge that waits for DK Shivakumar.
Do you also see this as the Congress party is preparing for the elections in 2028 in Karnataka and the 2029 elections? They want to maybe fix wherever there are leakages, get ready for 2029 this time with a better battalion.
Yeah, so that's what. So I think you got it right. See, all this would have happened typically in the Congress party on the verge of election. 2028,
That's right. Yeah.
just about when the election to be announced, they would be fighting each other. I think they wanted to clean up much earlier. It's to 2026, 2 more years to go, still a short period. But then within this period, Shivkumar's job is to consolidate, to get the social equation right. And how he's going to get that is going to be a big question. See,
That'll happen through representation in his ministry?
Well, there are various ways which he could do. How he's going to do is a big question. There are about 17% of Dalits there, about another 3 or 4% of tribals. So together, some 20 to 23% is a very big chunk. He has to ensure that. So maybe he'll have more deputy CMs or something like that.
We are hearing that there are 2 deputy CMs, Dalits.
Yeah, possibly. So he should give more representation to MBCs, though there are no MBCs there, but I think within the BCs, there are communities which are not shared powered. And like Siddaramaiah is insisting, his own Kurba community and others, OBCs, minorities, all those things, he has to provide enough space for them. And if he manages to do that, if he is able to co-opt Siddaramaiah by keeping his son Yatindra on his side, because there is a word that his son Yatindra may also get a ministryship. If he manages, that will be very good and fine. Otherwise, these 2 years would be too short for Congress party itself if they keep fighting among themselves.
All right, so very insightful talking to you. Thank you.
Thank you.